Hi, this is Cheryl St.Pierre of Majestic Wire Artworks. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make these beautiful little, I call them hoop and spiral pearl earrings. I've made it specifically to hold a pearl in here. This is a cultured pearl, so it shows it off really nice. Pearls and copper just are amazing together. And really what it is a very fancy ear wire. But when it's in your ears, it wiggles back and forth. So it's got some nice flow. And the pearl has movement, not that it matters, but it does. And well, let's begin. So what you're going to need for supplies is 2 pieces of 20 gauge dead soft copper and 2 pieces, now did I say 3.5 inches long? These are 3.5 inches long, and 2 3-inch pieces of 24 gauge dead soft copper wire. And I have a cultured pearl here, so it's nice and round. It's not a potato pearl, it's just round, and the cultured ones usually are. And this is 5 millimeters, and I was thinking that possibly you could fit a 6 millimeter bead there. Excuse me, but I really think you might have difficulties wrapping it, so you best to try and find a 5 millimeter bead. If you're not going to use a pearl, a semi-precious bead that's 5 millimeters would work good. And yeah, I would, it's my favorite with the pearl. That's what I designed it for. So, but of course that's your choice. Now, the first thing you're going to need for tools, you're going to need, I'm using a metal file today. You could use a nail file, whatever works for you for filing the end of the ear wire so it's not going to scratch you going in. You're going to need your traditional chain nose pliers, round nose pliers, flush cutters, and of course your ruler. And you're going to need a round pencil. Mine has dinosaurs on it. So the round pencil is your mandrel for making the ear wire. And also in this video, I'm teaching you a new technique. It's a very simple technique, nothing major, but you might not have seen anybody else do it before. So let's begin. So I want you to take your 3.5 inch piece wire and bend it at 2 inches. And I need you to be exact, because if you're off, it's going to affect the size of your spiral. It's also going to affect the length of your ear wire. So it's very crucial to be exact. And then another thing I want is for you to make a sharp 45-degree bend. So if you're worried about not having measurements right, what you could do is make it a 4-inch piece, bend it at 2.5 inches, and you would have 2 inches here. So measure cut yourself a 4.5 inch piece, bend it at 2.5 inches and 2 inches, and then trim it down to 2 inches and 1.5. So just remember, you want it 2 inches and 1.5 inches, and we want it to be like bang on, okay? So it's important for these earrings. So I want you to have that sharp bend, and now the 2-inch piece is what's going to make the loop. So you're going to take your pencil now, and you're going to hold it so that this is the 1.5 inch piece. We're wrapping the 2 inch piece around the pencil. So I'm supporting it, and I'm starting to bend, and it's flipping on me, and I don't want it to flip. Okay, so there, push it in, bending it nice and neat. Okay, and see how we want this bend, I'm going to show it on this side, to be right against the pencil, and it's not. So first I'm going to bend this wire that's wrapping around flat. And now I'm going to take my chain nose pliers and take that corner and push it right against the pencil. So now if I can get in there, I'll go lower on the pencil there. Now I've got them perpendicular to each other, or hopefully so. Push it against the pencil so it's tight up against the pencil. I'm going to just show that. It's tight up against the pencil. And now if we were to take this off the pencil, I'm going to take it off just so I can show you. I don't want you to take yours off. Now I have a really nice formed circle. Nice and straight. Okay? So the key is to try and keep that shape while you're making these earrings. And that can be challenging. So now we're going to take what's left of the 2-inch piece and we're going to wrap it around the 1.5-inch piece as best we can. Just once. One full circle. And then if you have to, grab your chain nose pliers to pull it tight. I have to. Maybe you don't. Okay, and it still didn't go in tight enough, so I'm going to crimp mine in. I'm cheating and crimping it in. In the meantime, I've got it all around the pencil so we're not deforming the circle. Because if you were to take it off, chances are you would deform the circle. See how it's nice and round? Okay, now, is it tight? Is it as tight as you want it to be? Okay, so that's what we got to do. Now, we're going to make the spiral. And I'm just going to bend that forward a little bit so I can work with it. And remember, we're not going to pull. Did we deform the circle? You got to be very careful not to deform the circle. So if it did a little bit, put it back on the pencil and push it down. Push it down. Okay. Hope I didn't go off screen trying to slide it on that pencil there. And I'm trying not to deform the circle. So it's a bit of a challenge. Being careful here. There, I got my bud for my spiral, and now I'm bending it around. Now chances are you're going to mar the wire as you do this, and we will give the metal a brushed look to disguise it. If you're lucky, you can get away with not doing that, but chances are one of them's going to have it, so you got to have a matched pair of it that way. Okay, so there we are. The spiral's not perfect, and in that, sometimes in that tight quarter, it's not going to be, but you just do the best you can. And that's what wire wrapping's all about. Okay, so I'm going to take my metal file and I'm just going to buff that up and give it a brushed metal look. And if you want, you can take that, extend that look onto here. I'm not going to today. The next thing you're going to do is check to see if this is level. It's a little crooked. I'm just going to do that. Center the spiral. And now I'm going to straighten this wire by snapping this. This actually helps work harden the wire. And with an ear wire, that's a good thing. But right now we want it to be really straight to make our ear wire. But we're not going to make the ear wire yet. I just wanted that to be kind of out of our way, straight, ready, prepared. Right now, I think the best thing to do is to put your pearl in. You need to put your pearl in before you make the ear wire, because you don't want this in your way while you're wrapping. It's going to get in the way of wrapping the pearl on. So you're going to take your 3-inch piece of 24 gauge. Now you could choose 2 ways of doing this. Either put the pearl on now or put the pearl on later. And you'd want the pearl sitting in the center. And I just wanted to show you something. How we're going to wrap it, and I have a reason for doing this, is you want it to start from the back. And that's why I put the pearl on, just so you can see. And you want to do 3 wraps from each side going like this. So I am going to now, I've got the bend where I'm going to start, and that's good. I'm going to take the pearl off now because I tend to drop the pearl off the wire. And now I'm going to take, because that bend gave me the point of working. And this is always challenging to show on camera because it's away from me a little bit. Okay, and I use my chain nose pliers here. And it's okay to bend your wires. I'm bending it down and forcing it to go into the loop and wrapping it around the wire. And I need to make sure that the other wire stays underneath the loop. So I'm just going to straighten out this wire. And this is challenging too, getting the first wrap. Okay, so I've got it like that. I'm going to just tighten it up by pulling it for the first loop. Okay, now it doesn't have to be at the side. We can work at the bottom because it'll slide around. No worries there. And now I'm going to bend this and tuck it in again, and then pull it down, kind of like a needle and thread per se. So now we've got 2 wraps. Get you in focus. Okay, and we're going to do it a 3rd time. Three's the charm. Okay, and now that one's a little bit separated. I'm going to squish that in and wiggle it tight. Okay, and I'm not going to snip it off yet. We're going to leave it there. Now I'm going to the back, and you see, okay, go in focus there. Yeah, my camera's arguing with me here. And I'm just gonna, I'm hoping you can see this. Okay, I'm gonna squish those together, and now I'm going to put the pearl on. And we want to be approximately the center or the lowest part of the circle. Okay, and get the pearl on. Center. I see that it's going out of focus when I'm down now. Every time a phone does an update, it has to act up. Okay, so you notice I wrapped going up. That's because you have more room on the top than you do at the bottom. I did that intentionally. And now we're going to do the same thing. So I'm bent around. I use the wire as my guide to keep it taut and level. That's the back. That's what it looks like from the front. We can adjust the pearl side to side. It has movement. And now, so this is the front again. Now I'm taking the wire and I'm going to bend it to go down to do my first wrap. And it's being stubborn. Okay, going above, so I'm going closer to the spiral than the bottom. Push it through the loop and pull it tight. And like a needle and thread. And I'm going to wiggle it tight. But you got to be careful, because if you pull too hard, you will deform the circle. And we don't want to do that. And it still looks good. I mean, if it goes slightly off, that's okay too. And now I'm going to make this 2 more wraps. So hopefully you've had patience with me while I do this. And that's synced up really nice and neat. Push that 3rd one through and pull it tight. And I'm wiggling it tight. And it went really neat. I don't need to cinch it up. It just went into place. That's perfect. Okay, so this is the back of the earring again. We've got the 2 wires. Now we're going to take advantage of it being in the back, and we're going to snip the wire off. I'm trying to get it in focus there. Okay, we're going to snip the wire off so that's closer to the inside of the circle. And that way we won't have any sharp edges touching anything. So you might want to make the wire perpendicular. Not sure why I'm having so many issues with focus today. Okay, there. So I've got that. And do the same with the other one. And we will crimp them down, because you just don't know. So when I crimp it down, I'm going to make a movement, and it okay, so it has quite a lip on there, so I didn't snip as close as I want to. I'm going to take that little lip and I'm going to lift it back, and I'm going to trim it shorter. And to lift it back, I'm actually going to use my snips because it grabs easier. Okay, and now I'm going to do the same crimping process with this one. And it again, it must be tightening up. And just trim it down a little bit shorter. And now if you can't get rid of the burr, then what I recommend is just use a file and file that little bit down. Because you don't want to be poking fingers as you're putting your earrings in. There, that one's good. What's this one like? And that one's good right from the get-go, so I didn't need to do anything there. Okay, now, that's the hard, to me, that's the hardest part of the whole earring. And there it is. Okay, so next, I want you to take your pliers. Now, if your pliers are just like mine, the thick part of your pliers is 8 millimeters in length. If yours is 9 millimeters in length, do it 9 millimeters in length. But you might want a smidge bit longer wire here, but you know, see what it does. So I'm bending it just a slight bend forward. This is the front of the earring, and I'm pushing that way. Just a slight bend. And what that bend is for is that's our indicator of where we want to put the pencil to make the curve of the ear wire. So I'm just, that's our guide, that's where it goes. Push it against the pencil and bend it down like that. Okay, so that's the look we want at this time. Now we need to check to make sure that the pearl and the loop is sitting at the right angle so that it sits straight. And I think we got it. And if it moves on you, then I want you to check it. Now we're gonna snap and squeeze. For work hardening, we're locking in the curve. I want you to squeeze on that curve. Not too hard, but not gingerly soft either. Can you hear it snap? Okay, that's work hardening it. And that's what we want to do. And we might as well go all the way along, because the more we work harden it, the better these earrings will be. And you'll know when they're hard enough. And as you're doing it, it flattens it a little bit. It gives it the hammered look. And that's what we're doing. We're not using a hammer on these. We're not using the hammer and anvil. We're doing all the work hardening just with our pliers. Now, I don't know if anybody's ever shown you that you can do that, but you can. So that's cool. And you know, if you're a person that likes to take stuff to a place, and like even a doctor's appointment or something like that, if you can do it, well, say you're waiting for somebody else. You're not going in, but somebody else is going in and you're going to be in the waiting room. Give yourself something to do. And, you know, it doesn't take very many tools if you can work harden something with the pliers instead of a hammer. And it doesn't make the noise either. You might not want to make these earrings because it might be too hard to do in a waiting room, but something that takes work hardening like this is perfect. Okay, so I've got it fairly hard. Now the next step is take your round nose pliers again. And I just take it so it comfortably fits here. Like that. And I'm going to bend the curve forward. Like that. And I'm going to show you that. That's the shape you want at this time. Okay, and now I'm going to work harden it again for that curve. And might as well take the opportunity to do the whole ear wire. Okay, now the next step is to take your pencil again, because I do not like wearing earrings with a fish hook that shape, because it pokes you in the neck. Okay, and I see all these earrings made online with those ear wires that poke you in the neck. And not only that, they fall out really fast. And then you lose earrings. So I want you to put your pencil back in the curve that it was. And now we're going to bend it down so it's parallel to where the pearl is. So parallel, let's see if I can get parallel with this, with the loop. So like that. That's the look we want now. And now we're going to take those pliers, and I'm doing it bit by bit, and we're work hardening it. And you want to make sure that this is straight Get it all fixed up. Snap at that some more. Can you feel the love that's going into this earring? That's what handmade's all about. The love. The care. Okay. You know what? It's pretty stiff. It's getting there. The next step is to decide how long you want to put your little curve. You know, that part isn't even really, hey, I know what I forgot to do. And you might want to do it before you bend it, but you could do it now too, is file the end of the ear wire so it doesn't cut your ear. I actually find it easier to do now because it's stiff and it's not going to bend all over the place. So I usually rub it about 6 to 10 times from the 4 directions, north, south, east, west. You can do this step before you form the ear wire or now. Just important to get it done. Get those burrs off. There. Okay, happy with that. And now I'm going to make the bend. And this is the part where you kind of want to match the length. I just have a favorite spot that I like to do, and it just automatically does it. And nobody really compares that part, but I think it's important. Okay, and there is the pair of earrings. Aren't they pretty? Now I managed to get my swirls in opposite directions. That's just because of when I wrapped around the pencil, I went one way on one and the other way on the other. Honestly, if you luck out and you happen to do that, bonus, but I'm not going to stress you out with trying to figure out how to do it, because they'll look just as fantastic with them being the same direction or the opposites. So there you go. Thank you for joining me in this video. God bless. And we'll see you in the next one. Take care.